Hey, Scruffy. How you doing? Oh. Yeah. It's actually a really nice day today, so didn't think you'd actually step in. Okay. Get the food on the table. Get the glove. Okay. Sit down. So yeah, the weather was really nice today. Sun came out. You know, pretty much clear blue skies all day. Temperature was actually warmer today. It was, I'd say maybe 5 degrees warmer than yesterday. We did get some wind overnight, but I heard it through the house. I was actually, from inside the house. I was actually getting a little worried, but then I don't think it lasted that long. It didn't go the whole night. And then, the day was pretty calm, warm, and nice. So, yeah, Scruffy has nothing to complain about. So I decided to go for a bike ride today. I'm still technically sick, but my cough was improving quite a bit. So yesterday, improved quite a bit from the day before, and then today is very similar to yesterday, probably even slightly a tad bit better. But yeah, since the weather was so good, I really felt like I should try to get some exercise and go out. And I went for a run yesterday, and I didn't want to go for another run today, so I felt everything was good enough that I could attempt a bike ride, and it hopefully wouldn't fail spectacularly. It would be not something I'd have to abort. And yeah, I actually did surprisingly well. I was very surprised that pretty much didn't feel my illness when I was biking. I coughed every now and then, but I thought I'd be really fatigued and have a really hard time getting up the hills and just being short breath and in pain or something. And no, it was actually a fairly typical ride. I did kind of the bare minimum route I would do, but even my bare minimum route still has fairly steep hills and takes me I think my ride was probably about an hour and 20 minutes today. So I went to the park that's been closed where I normally go biking. I thought there was a chance it was open since I checked on the website the other day, and they took down the announcement that they had shut down the park. But when I had done deeper digging, all the trails were marked as closed. So I was kind of wondering what was going on. I thought maybe the park was open, but all the trails are closed, so you could basically just use it for driving in and they were using the picnic ground or something. But when I got there, yeah, it was actually closed. So they still haven't reopened the park. They actually had a sign out showing. So normally they have a sign that when they close the park, it's due to hazardous conditions or something. They added a second sign that they were able to. They attached pictures to, so they took photographs of some of the damage that was in the park, and they posted to the sign, so I guess people could see basically what kind of damage was done to the park. Pretty smart, actually. So they should do it on the website. And yeah, so they showed they had a lot of pictures of trails that had a lot of debris and rocks. It looks like little mudslides and other things that are problematic for the trails. They actually didn't look that bad, in my opinion, but there was one looked like a historic building, like a log cabin or something. I know they have some like really old structures in the park that they keep for historical purposes. I don't think anyone's allowed in them, but they had a picture of one, and basically one wall had basically been knocked down, and the ceiling, collapsed because the wall was gone. And yeah, so this I guess historic building is partially destroyed. I don't know if they're going to try to fix it or if they're just going to have to get rid of it. So you could see that that it looks like it was a very small structure, like a little tiny log cabin or something. So yeah, towards the back of the picture, you could see that the other walls were still up, and there was still a ceiling over there. But yeah, the side where the wall was gone, yeah, the ceiling had completely collapsed. So I'm not sure what kind of restoration work, if any, they're going to try to do. They're just going to tear it down. So yeah, that reminds me. So yeah, I forgot how many years ago. It's a little while ago. I think it was. So I went to China. It was kind of around the Olympic time period. It was actually a little bit before, so they were still building up everything for the Olympics. And I went to. Well, I actually went to a lot of places, but one of the places was that palace at Tiananmen Square. And I remember the tour guide was kind of pointing out that in China they have a very different idea of historical restoration than we do here. So basically, here we try when we try to restore things, we try to do it as authentically as possible. So we try to use the same materials that were used in the original. We try to use the same paints, and try not to do anything that would compromise the historical integrity of what the thing was supposed to be. In China, basically, they do the complete opposite, and they just build it, keep it going, and make it look like what people expect it to look like. And that whatever can change over time. So it's just a facade. It's the building's still there, but we need new boards. We need to repair that roof. So quick, get to it. Repair that roof with whatever you got. Paint it nice, and yeah, who cares if the paints didn't exist back when they actually made the palace? Just as long as it looks nice, because a lot of tourists need to watch or see this. So yeah, it's completely the opposite thing. And then actually in Singapore, I heard the same thing. So Singapore's a little different, but yeah, they have kind of a similar attitude that China's historical restoration. So in Singapore, they're actually more concerned about land space because it's a little tiny island and there's like I can't forget how many people, like 13 million people or something like that, and and so they're constantly battling, trying to get more space for the people to use and live, and then preserve historical artifacts or buildings in Singapore. And so what they do is they basically gut the historic buildings. They keep the external facade to make it look like from the outside it's still historical, but they completely like redo all the insides. So they're like nothing like the original. It's all modern and changed, and and I guess a lot of historical purists really hate that, and it's understandable, but uh, but yeah, it's kind of the trade-off in Singapore where they're trying to balance the needs of the existing population with historical cultural preservation, and you got a basically it's kind of a benevolent dictatorship. So it's basically the government gets to decide everything. So Scruffy said in the glove there. So I'm over time here, so I need to give Scruffy his food. Okay, let's get your food. So, yeah, I saw Scruffy, I think this afternoon, sleeping out in the. Oh, yeah, he's under the round table out in the open part of the deck. So, as I said, yeah, it's a really nice day. So, I'm not surprised he was out in the open and in a little bit of shade because, yeah, the sun was completely out, no clouds. So, yeah, getting a little bit of a shade, but still out in the open. And then, yeah, he's waiting for me, I think, at lunch. He was, yeah, I think I saw him. He was, I think, sitting upright under the table, looking at the door. And then I think he saw me, and then he moved closer to the door. So by the time I got here, yeah, he's kind of at the door. Hey, Scruffy. So he saw me through the window. And then he moved up to the door. So I'm going to try to put the kibble closer to the bowl today so you don't throw up. My thinking is that it'll slow you down from eating since you have a hard time getting the kibble right next to the bowl. Okay. Since Scruffy threw up yesterday, at lunch when I gave him the kibble, I made sure to spread it next to the base of the bowl to kind of slow him down so he can't scarf and barf. At least make it harder for him to scarf and barf. So I think I might need to do that more often in the future. So tonight's dinner is meaty pate with real chicken and tuna, kibble, and more rotisserie chicken scraps. And yeah, I have quite a few scraps in this Ziploc bag, and probably should have maybe split it into 2 bags, but oh well, too late. It's probably okay. I think Scruffy has a strong stomach constitution. I've heard cats actually have much stronger stomachs for eating things than people. So that's why they can eat raw food. But it should be okay. So I refrigerate it, and I'm heating it up. I'm gonna serve it to him, and it's almost gone. So almost done. So let's see. Yeah, also on my bike ride today, yeah, I did make a note to check out the creek, and water level had receded a noticeable amount. So last time I was there, I was mentioning, yeah, I was getting onto some of the banks. There's still a lot of space to go, so we could get a lot more rain, and those particular creeks wouldn't flood over into the or spill out to the streets or anything like that. So that there was still space, but but yeah, the creeks right now are higher than they've been for years. So there's, yes, quite a bit of water, relatively speaking. But yeah, I was checking it out today, and yeah, I was kind of surprised at how much water has already receded. There's still a lot in there, but so the telltale sign was there were a lot of like tall grass that had died, and it looks like, yeah, the tall grass had it's tipped over, so it's bent, pointing in the direction that the water's flowing. And so basically, I think what happened was, yeah, the water level got too high, and then the flow pushed the grass over into the water and is pointing in the direction that the water is flowing, and then basically killed the grass as it drowned it. And now that the water level has receded, that dead grass is basically still pointing in that direction, and it's all dead now, so it's all brown. But it's, yeah, revealed now that the water level has receded. So I saw a lot of long, tall grass bent, pointing in a particular direction where the water was flowing, all along the creek bed, showing that, yeah, the water level had receded quite a bit. Probably a few feet at least. Maybe probably a little over a foot. I don't know. A few feet might be too generous. Depends on where in the creek. Not that I was that close to it, so measuring's kind of hard. It's admiring from a distance. Yeah, I saw a video recently of, it's on YouTube. Somebody was capturing, yeah, caught some video of 2 people who were walking, investigating a road that had collapsed. So it looked like, yeah, there was the the water basically eroded the dirt under the road, and the road, it was a big, concrete, road or street, and about half of it, basically collapsed underneath and just kind of rolled off into a chasm. And part of the road was half of the road was still there that hadn't fallen into the chasm, and there were two people down there walking around on the road, kind of checking out the collapse. And the video showed as one of the, I think it was, one of the people was walking along the road, more of it started collapsing right next to them, and sunk into the chasm. The person was, both people were fortunate. Yeah, the part they were standing on didn't collapse, but yeah, they were pretty close to more getting caught in that and falling into the chasm. Probably potential serious injury or death. So yeah, I don't know if they got out of there. I assume they did, but yeah. So I kept my distance. I wasn't getting anywhere near. Near the creek border. Not that we had any flooding or erosion. It looked like everything was under control. So this creek was designed and working as intended. So they've done all the fortification, and I think it was holding. So the road's far enough back, and there's definite sections in the creek that they've explicitly fortified. So it looks like they've had engineers make sure the creek doesn't become a problem. So new balls for Scruffy. I was going to wait for him to take a drink, but since he didn't leave, I guess I'll just move the balls now. So there's a big piece of pate in the corner under the balls. So I had to use my alternate route today since the park was closed. So after I got to the park and saw that the park was still closed, and took a look at the sign showing all the pictures, and had to backtrack and then take my alternate route. And the good news with the alternate route was the one section with the dirt trail that I've been avoiding because it turned muddy. It was now dry enough that I didn't have to go to the main road and try taking the windy mountainous road with traffic on it. And that was when I got lost in a few weeks ago, trying to find a side street that went through neighborhoods that paralleled it, and I got lost. So anyway, yeah, the dirt was dry enough today that I could bike on it without making a mess or getting stuck. But I noticed there were a lot of horseshoe tracks on that trail, so it looks like while it was muddy, people were bringing the horses and running through it. So I think Scruffy's done. Cleaned the bowl pretty well. The only thing I think he could lick is the golf ball, but I don't know if he knows that it's there. Okay, folks, thanks for watching. See you next time.